Hi Chem Team. We learned in class today about the three types of particles that compose an atom. We learned about protons, which are positively charged particles that have one atomic mass unit. We learned about neutrons, which are neutral, that is, they have no charge at all, but have the same mass as a proton. And then we learned about electrons, which have a negative charge and have almost no mass at all. So if we wanted to model out an atom, let's say boron, which has 5 protons and 6 neutrons typically, we would draw the protons, all 5 of them, as circles with tiny plus signs, and we would draw the neutrons as circles with neither positive nor negative signs in them. And it doesn't matter where we draw them, just so long as they are together in the nucleus, or the center of the atom. Then, because this atom has 5 positively charged protons, it will attract 5 negatively charged electrons. The opposite charges attract. And those electrons will fill into shells around the atom. There's 2 types of shells. There are core shells, which are inner shells, and then there is the valence shell, which is whichever shell is the outermost shell. So in this case, that's the second shell. And you can see that each of these shells has within it the spaces for up to 2 electrons. Those are called orbitals. And you can see that the inner shell, the first shell, which is smaller, only has 1 orbital with space for 2 electrons, whereas the second shell, in this case the valence shell, has 4 orbitals with space for a total of 8 electrons, 2 electrons per orbital. And these electrons will attract as close to the nucleus as possible. So the first 2 electrons will attract into the first shell's orbital. But after electrons fill the first shell, they'll end up repelling other electrons into the outer shells. Since both of these electrons are negative, they repel each other. And the remaining electrons will repel into the second shell as well. And what you'll notice is that these electrons in the outer shell won't share orbitals with each other. They're all in separate orbitals. Unless there's no other space available in that shell, these electrons are negative, so they'll repel as far away from each other as possible. And that's it. At this point, you have a couple of questions. We'll see you in class tomorrow.